Shalom, I'm Rabbi Jonathan, and today I'm reading from Genesis chapters 4 through 7. I'm using the TOV, Tree of Life version of the Bible. Now the man had relations with Eve his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, I produced a man with Adonai. Then she gave birth again to his brother Abel. Abel became a shepherd of flocks, while Cain became a worker of the ground. So it happened after some time that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Adonai, while Abel, he also brought of the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. Now Adonai looked favorably upon Abel and his offering, but upon Cain and his offering he did not look favorably. Cain became very angry, and his countenance fell. Then Adonai said to Cain, Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, it will lift. But if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the doorway. Its desire is for you, but you must master it. Cain spoke to Abel his brother while they were in the field. Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him. Then Adonai said to Cain, Where is Abel, your brother? I don't know, he said. Am I my brother's keeper? Then he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. So now, cursed are you from the ground, which opened up its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. As often as you work the ground, it will not yield its crops to you again. You will be a restless wanderer on the earth. Cain said to Adonai, My iniquity is too great to bear. Since you expelled me today from the face of the ground, and I must be hidden from your presence, then I will be a restless wanderer on the earth. Anyone who finds me will kill me. But Adonai said to him, In that case, anyone who kills Cain is to be avenged 7 times over. So Adonai put a mark on Cain, so that anyone who found him would not strike him down. Then Cain left Adonai's presence and dwelled in the land of wandering, east of Eden. Cain was intimate with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. And he was building a city, and he named the city after the name of his son, Enoch. And to Enoch was born Irad. Irad fathered Mehujael, and Mehujael fathered Methushael, and Methushael fathered Lamech. Now Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of the first one was Adah, and the name of the second one was Zillah. Adah gave birth to Jabal. He was the pioneer of tent dwellers with livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the pioneer of all who skillfully handle stringed instruments and wind instruments. Now Zillah also gave birth to Tubal-Cain, the forger of every kind of bronze and iron tools. Tubal-Cain's sister was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. Lamech's wives, listen to my speech. For I have killed a man for wounding me, and a boy for bruising me. If Cain is to be avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times. Adam was intimate with his wife again, and she gave birth to a son, and she named him Seth. For God has appointed to me another seed in place of Abel, since Cain killed him. To Seth also was born a son. He named him Enosh. Then people began to call on Adonai's name. This is the book of the genealogies of Adam. When God created Adam in the likeness of God, he made him. Male and female he created them, and he blessed them and called their name Adam when he created them. Adam lived 130 years, then fathered a son in his likeness after his image, and named him Seth. Then the days of Adam after he fathered Seth were 800 years, and he fathered other sons and daughters. So all Adam's days that he lived were 930 years, and then he died. Seth lived 105 years, then fathered Enosh. Seth lived 807 years after he fathered Enosh, and he fathered sons and daughters. So all Seth's days were 912 years, and then he died. Enosh lived 90 years, then fathered Canaan. Enosh lived 815 years after he fathered Canaan, and he fathered sons and daughters. So all of Enosh's days were 905 years, and then he died. Canaan lived 70 years, then fathered Mahalalel. Canaan lived 840 years after he fathered Mahalalel. He fathered sons and daughters. So all of Canaan's days were 910 years, and then he died. Mahalalel lived 65 years, then fathered Jared. Mahalalel lived 830 years after he fathered Jared, and he fathered sons and daughters. So all of Mahalalel's days were 895 years, and then he died. Jared lived 162 years, then fathered Enoch. Jared lived 800 years after he fathered Enoch, and he fathered sons and daughters. So all of Jared's days were 962 years, and then he died. Enoch lived 65 years, then fathered Methuselah. Now Enoch walked with God continually for 300 years after he fathered Methuselah, and he fathered sons and daughters. So all of Enoch's days were 365 years. And Enoch continually walked with God. Then he was not there, because God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years, and fathered Lamech. And Methuselah lived 782 years after he fathered Lamech, and he fathered other sons and daughters. So all of Methuselah's days were 969 years, and then he died. Lamech lived 182 years, and he fathered a son. And he named him Noah, saying, "This one will comfort us from our work, and from the pain of our hands, because of the ground which Adonai cursed." Lamech lived 595 years after he fathered Noah, and he fathered sons and daughters. So all of Lamech's days were 777 years, and then he died. And Noah was 500 years old when he fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now when humankind began to multiply on the face of the ground, and daughters were born to them, then the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were good. And they took for themselves wives, any they chose. Then Adonai said, "My spirit will not remain with humankind forever, since they are flesh. So their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, whenever the sons of God came to the daughters of men, and gave birth to them. Those were the mighty men of old, men of renown. Then Adonai said that the wickedness of humankind was great on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of their heart was only evil all the time. So Adonai regretted that he made humankind on the earth, and his heart was deeply pained. So Adonai said, "I will wipe out humankind whom I have created, from the face of the ground, from humankind to livestock, crawling things, and the flying creatures of the sky, because I regret that I made them." But Noah found favor in Adonai's eyes. These are the genealogies of Noah. Noah was a righteous man. He was blameless among his generation. Noah continually walked with God. Noah fathered 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was ruined before God, and the earth was filled with violence. God saw the earth, and behold, it was ruined, because all flesh had corrupted their way upon the earth. Then God said to Noah, "The end of all flesh is coming before me, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. Behold, I am about to bring ruin upon them along with the land. Make for yourself an ark of gopher wood. You shall make the ark with compartments, and smear pitch on it, both inside and out. Now this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark, 300 cubits, its breadth, 50 cubits, and its height, 30 cubits. You shall make a roof for the ark, and you shall finish it to within a cubit from the top. You shall put the door of the ark on its side. You shall make it with lower, second, and third stories. Now I am about to bring the flood, water upon the land, to destroy all flesh, in which is the spirit of life from under the sky. Everything that is on the land will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you. So you shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Also of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of everything, male and female, into the ark to keep alive with you. Of the flying creatures according to their kind, of the livestock according to their kind, of all the crawling creatures of the ground according to their kind, 2 of everything will come to you to keep them alive. As for you, take for yourself every kind of edible food and gather it to yourself. It will be food for you and for them." So Noah did according to all that God commanded him. He did so exactly. Then Adonai said to Noah, "Come, you and all your household, into the ark, for you only do, I perceive, is righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean animal you shall take with you 7 of each kind, male and female, and of all the animals which themselves are not clean, 2, male and female. Also of the flying creatures of the sky, 7 of every kind, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of the whole land. For in 7 more days I am going to make it rain upon the land 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe out all existence that I made from the face of the ground." So Noah did all, just as Adonai commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood came, water upon the land. So Noah, his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives entered the ark because of the floodwaters. Of the clean animals and unclean animals, the flying creatures and everything that crawls on the ground, 2 by 2 they came to Noah into the ark, male and female, just as God commanded Noah. After the 7 days, the flood waters were upon the land. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on this day, all the water sources of the great deep burst open, and the windows of the sky were opened. Then there was rain upon the land 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day Noah, along with Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of Noah's sons with them, entered the ark. They and every animal according to its kind, and all the livestock according to its kind, and every crawling creature that crawls on the land according to its kind, and every flying creature according to its kind, every bird, every winged creature. So to Noah and into the ark they went by 2s, all flesh, in which was the spirit of life. Those that came, male and female of all flesh, came just as God commanded him. Then Adonai shut him in. The flood was 40 days upon the land, and the waters increased and lifted the ark, so that it rose above the land. The waters overpowered and became very mighty over the land, and the ark drifted on the surface of the water. The waters completely overpowered the land, so that all the high mountains beneath the entire sky were covered. The waters rose 15 cubits higher as the mountains were covered. All flesh perished, those that crawl on the land, the flying creatures, livestock, wild animals, all creatures that swarm upon the land, and all humankind. Everything that had the breath of the spirit of life in its nostrils, everything on dry land, died. So he wiped out all existence that was upon the surface of the ground, everything from people to livestock to crawling creatures and to flying creatures of the sky. They were wiped out off the land. Only Noah and those with him in the ark survived. The waters overpowered the land for 150 days.